All right, so like Jill said, I'm Kit Church, and I'm the research coordinator for the TBRS community. So I'm sure everyone here has gotten a bajillion emails from me recently. But it's great to get to meet all of you in person. As you can tell, I'm very excited. I can't stop smiling as I see each and every one of you. But today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the benefits of participating in TBRS research. And I really just want to bring home the point that all the impact that you've made is a direct result of participation in research and all those surveys you filled out and all that kind of thing. So with that, we can get started. Perfect. All right, so I'll start out by talking a little bit about our patient priority survey. Carrie Grins, our vice president, presented on this yesterday, but she also has a poster over there if you're interested in seeing some more about it. But our patient priority survey that many of you filled out this year and last year helps us guide research in a patient-led manner and benefits individuals with TBRS. So we can make sure that research is geared towards what will actually help patients. We share this data with researchers and clinicians in our network, as well as at scientific meetings and conferences. So we shared it at CZI a couple weeks back. It's here tonight, and we'll actually be sharing it at NORD right after this in DC. So this year, normally we create the patient priority survey by ourselves, but this year we did it in conjunction with the Overgrowth Syndromes Alliance. And their mission is to help everyone with overgrowth and intellectual disabilities. So they're an umbrella organization that we helped start. But for TBRS participants in particular, there were 110. And you can check out the poster for more information on each breakdown of, ages and each syndrome. But for all TBRS participants, there's some of the top. There we go. Some of the top priorities. So the number one was intellectual disability, and then behavioral and mental health, and so on. Okay, there we go. So now I'll talk a little bit about some early TBRS research, which I know we've probably all heard about, but I'll go over it a little bit again. So in 2013, there was a childhood overgrowth study that Dr. Kate Tatton-Brown and some other scientists spearheaded. And in it, 13 patients were identified with DNMT3A variants. And we know this is where TBRS was discovered. And from this paper, we have a little figure at the top there, which I'll kind of highlight there. And on that, you can see those lollipops on the gene. And each of those lollipops is a different participant. So initially, we had those 13 different variants for TBRS. And then a clinical study in 2018 found 55 more patients, which Kate talked a little bit about earlier. But now in this same graphic, you can see there's a whole lot more variants for TBRS now, and we're discovering more about TBRS. And symptoms were also described, clinical symptoms in this study as well. So now we move forward to 2021 when we launched our TBRS Community Patient Registry. Many of you are among this number that's consenting patient participants in the registry, but we currently have 156, which is fantastic. We know of about 350 people diagnosed with TBRS, so 156 is pretty great. There's 135 who have started surveys and 97 who have completed all surveys. And we're really hoping to get to that 100 number and above, like Kate was saying, to have that big breadth of data. So we're pretty close. For each of these participants, there are 117 gene variants that have been uploaded. And of these, 90 are unique. So there are some overlap. There's some hot spots where there's more than one patient. But most TBRS patients have a variant unique to themselves. And then with our patient registry, we collect all of this data, and then scientists can apply to use it. And we've got an application review board to make sure, the research being done with this data is benefiting patients, that they're going to share information back, that kind of thing. And you can see all of our scientists and staff members and volunteers that are on that registry data application review board. I did want to have a reminder that if you didn't start the TBRS patient registry and you'd like to, or if there's some updates and you haven't had a chance to go back to it, it is open forever, indefinitely. So you can go back at any time to do those. So this is a pretty exciting graph, and lots of scientists get eager to see this image. This is the DNMT3A model for our current known variant mutations from the registry. So like I said, we have 115 variants, and you can see all of them on here. Scientists get excited to see, where mutations are for DNMT3A or for TBRS, and where there are big clusters. So for instance, you can see this cluster that we know about at R882, where there's, I think, about 16 people in the registry. And each one of these little circles is a different person. So it's really exciting to see at the top how far we've come from 13 to 55 to now 115. So I want to hammer home again. Your participation in research has led to some real results, and I want to share how. If you participated in the TBRS patient registry, you've helped us to learn that lots of the symptoms that we thought were less common in the population are more common than we realized. So cardiac issues are a lot more common, as Kate mentioned in her talk. Aortic root dilation, which our own Dr. Vickentotten has got a poster on over there in the poster session. Seizures are a lot more common than we realized, and so are vision and hearing problems and mental health problems. All of these things we kind of realized as we were analyzing registry data. And we've also had some applications for registry data use, and from this, we've got some questions that researchers are hoping to answer. So some of these are different variants more likely to have specific symptoms? So, delineating which variants are going to have which symptoms. How does TBRS affect brain development and function? How does TBRS affect the immune system? Does TBRS affect aging, so that over time look? How common is regression in TBRS? How might TBRS symptoms progress over time, again with our natural history study? How can we best treat and manage TBRS, which is an important one? And what medications might be more or less effective to treat symptoms. So I know that medications survey in the TBRS registry was a really long one for lots of people to put in every medication, but it really helps for us to look and see what helped with what symptoms and try to figure out what's the best treatment. So a little bit about donating patient samples and data for research. So if you donated samples or any of your data or surveys to Washington University, then you've helped scientists to not only understand symptoms of TBRS, but also to clarify the cancer risk a bit. And under each of these universities, you can see some of the researchers at these universities working on TBRS. If you donated to Baylor College of Medicine, and Peggy will be talking next, then you've helped to understand blood disorders in TBRS and identify issues with the immune system. If you donated to Sick Kids Hospital, you've helped scientists to make it easier to diagnose people with TBRS, so especially those with variants of uncertain significance, which Zane will talk about a little bit later. And then if you donated to the University of Montreal, you've helped to develop research models from TBRS samples and to begin learning how TBRS affects the brain. So every donation, every survey you filled out has helped in some different way with learning more about TBRS. And all of these scientists are beginning to search for biomarkers for TBRS research and clinical trials using that data as well. So I want to thank everyone who's participated in any type of research for that. We also had a gene review published this year. So Dr. Kate Tatton-Brown and one of her colleagues published this. For those who don't know, a gene review is a resource that's funded by the NIH for clinicians, and it helps clinicians and doctors to know more about the condition. So it's really a big milestone in getting that word out there. So they'll know more about TBRS, about what conditions can be screened for. So it's got like different guidelines for if someone has TBRS, you should look at their cardiac, go to a cardiologist, for instance, and about what symptoms are most common. And there's a big QR code up there if you're interested in that, or you can come see me and I'll send it to you as well. All right, and then there's some other TBRS community research. So all of this is available over at my research table, which I'll be over at. But I just did want to mention some of these things that we're working on as well. So the biorepository we just launched at the end of last year. And that's a collection of TBRS patient and family samples that helps to advance research and relieve that burden of having to always donate blood every time you want to participate, right? So it's one central repository. We currently have 24 people who had signed up and 5 samples in the repository, so it's a little slow going at first, as I'm sure some of you realized. But we have already collected, I believe, 19 patient samples today, not including sibling samples. So we're already bumping that number up. It's very exciting. We also use the clinical research ID. So the biorepository uses that to connect with other research. So instead of having like the patient name on the blood tube, right, it'll have a number so that they will know that your data from the registry is the same person as the blood sample without actually putting identifying information. So this is a unique number that takes about 2 minutes to create, and if you have any more questions on that, I'll be over there talking about it. We also have Count Me In for TBRS, which is our contact registry. So you can use this to learn more about research, clinical trials, other TBRS-related news, and right now we have 47 participants. The Brain Gene Registry is a new thing as well. It's a collection of data on neurodevelopmental disorders, so it's a lot like our registry, but for many different neurodevelopmental disorders. So this helps to kind of be able to compare different data and try to find help for many different people on a larger scale. And we currently have 11 participants, and I have a little flyer over there. And then Citizen is a new thing we're working on as well. Citizen is a program through Invitae that collects medical records from clinicians for you and puts it all in one convenient place, one convenient, secure place so that you can access it. Lots of people who have used Citizen have said they found records that they weren't even aware of, which is kind of scary, so I hope that doesn't happen for anyone. But then you can also choose to take this data and have it shared with the registry and with other research, so you don't have to do all of that uploading of documents, and you'll have one convenient place for them. So. I did want to mention that those who have made financial donations, that has also seen results as well. So we want to thank you for that. Some current projects that we are funding is how can we increase diagnosis for TBRS for those currently undiagnosed? Does TBRS affect other disease outcomes and symptoms? And how does TBRS affect brain development and function? And donations also helped to start up and fund the TBRS Community Patient Registry and the biorepository. So those are also very helpful. And as Jill mentioned earlier this morning, Jill and Casey, we will soon be funding $1,000 or $100,000 worth of projects aimed at identifying biomarkers. So that's pretty exciting as well. So in conclusion, I just want to thank all of you. If there's anything that I went too fast over, please come and talk to me and ask any questions. If you want to get more involved to participate, you can donate to the biorepository right out there, participate in the patient registry, participate in Count Me In for TBRS, and create a CRID to link all that information together. And then look out for more information on some of our newer things like the Brain Gene Registry and Citizen through the newsletter and on the Facebook. But otherwise, my email's there at the bottom, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So thank you all for participating in research and, being so involved in this community.